TGCRequiem, we are back with Rakdos Black-Red Reanimator. Just played Pillow Fort, and probably one of the most boring videos ever. We're going to be on the play here. This seems decent. We can actually get rid of Grizzlebrand, have some interaction, have a Goryo's Vengeance. I think we keep this. So the question is, do you lead on Blood Crypt? I guess you can always decide to play Blood Crypt upright next turn. I think you just lead on Black Cleave Cliffs here. You can hold up Fatal Push if your opponent runs something out. So we're not running out the Cathartic Reunion in case we maybe get like Stubborn Denialed or something. It's possible that's a mistake, but we should be able to next turn play Cathartic through a Stubborn Denial. Esper. So I gotta assume our opponent's playing like a Esper tokens list, most likely. Which unfortunately probably means that our pushes aren't great. Blood Moon's okay here. We need a black mana source though. Liliana of the Veil's pretty great. Should eat some counter magic if we need to force room for a Goryo's Vengeance. Alright, so they're just going to cycle Shadow of Doubt to draw a card. Keep that in mind when we are preparing to crack fetches later in this match. Yeah, so definitely more of an Esper control build if they're playing Drowned Catacomb. Shadow of Doubt's kind of already confirmed that, but I think we jam Lily here. So our opponent is on a very mana hungry draw. Or basically very greedy mana. If we force them to counter Lily, maybe we can resolve the Blood Moon. Interesting. And if they're holding it up to protect against, maybe they only have like one counter magic spell and they're worried about Goryo's Vengeance. Trapped Elspeth. Perhaps they have like a Cryptic Command and they're planning to counter bounce Lily next turn. We could Inquisition and see if the path is clear for a Goryo's Vengeance here. I feel like that feels the most safe. We could try and jam Blood Moon, but again, you just run this risk of having it countered and Liliana bounced and having lost quite a bit of tempo, giving them another draw step to get to the Liliana. If we can clear the way for a Glorious Vengeance on Grizzlebrand, that could gain us quite a bit of tempo. So they do have a Cryptic Command, a Mystical Teaching, Path, Snapcaster Mage, Detention Sphere. So I think we just take the Path here. If they tap out to play the Detention Sphere, we can Blood Moon them. Snapcaster really doesn't do anything right now. Probably just gonna think twice though. Sorry, we take the Path because it can actually screw up our combat a little bit. Again, if they Detention Sphere on their turn, we're kind of okay with that. Whoops, I forgot to uptick with Lily though. That's a mistake. So they get a Logic Knot, that's going to give them another hard counter. We just got to really hope the Detention Sphere. We also can try and Glorious Vengeance Grizzlebrand in during end step. Wish I could say this was intentional. I mean, the play's fine, I guess. Guess we're just going to have to wait and see. The hope here is that we get Grizzlebrand to resolve. If they try and counter it, that allows us to stick Blood Moon, which I think puts us in a pretty strong position. They can only counter one thing. And even though we don't have any black mana sources, I'm still okay sticking Blood Moon here. Awesome. Actually would have been better to play the Marsh Flats. I think we're going to get a... Alright, so tap draw. And then that's fine, we just stick Blood Moon. And we can through the Breach Emrakul next turn, and that should pretty much be game. Possibly could have pitched the Collective Brutality over the Cathartic Reunion there. And then the Collective Brutality would be game on the next turn, but it looks like we got there anyway. So we're able to kind of maneuver into a position where we're able to lock our opponent out on with the Blood Moon, which is great. I'm going to be on the draw post board here. Our opponent's playing white. They have Snapcaster Mage, so there's a good chance they're not playing Rest in Peace. Something worth keeping in mind. Probably Collective Brutality. Looks like Dreadbore may be relevant in this matchup. We can probably pull Murderous Cut in the Fatal Pushes. And it's possible they're running Celestial Colonnade, so we may decide to bring in a push back in. Slaughter Games could be good here. Brutality, Faithless Looting, Cathartic, Goryo's Pack Rat's still good. I mean, this is pretty much what we want. The only thing is Quicksilver Amulet could be pretty good here. What do we not want? I think Cathartic Reunion is kind of the worst in this case of the discard spells, just because Cathartic Reunion if their tokens Rakdos Charm could be okay. Just the value is pretty bad. You discard cards, and if you can't draw anything, so I think we probably cut that there. For the most part, though, I think we still want to be fast enough to race. So. This is really just not good at all. No way to interrupt them to get a fast start. Pack Rat could be good, but so this seems pretty good. We can go at them turn 1 with Inquisition, turn 2 with Collective Brutality. We may be able to build up to a point where we can Slaughter Games our opponent. I think this is keepable. Opponent mulliganed once as well. I am okay with this. We'll take that. Should be able to help us draw into lands earlier. Or later, rather. We'll lead on Swamp so we can Inquisition our opponent. Think Twice and Blessed Alliance. They ain't got nothing in their opening hand, but they do have access to basics, so it's a good thing to keep in mind. Blood Moon's not going to be super effective here. Not that it's not effective at all, but just not super effective. I think we just take the Think Twice and restrict their ability to draw. We can always Collective Brutality the Blessed Alliance the next turn if we need to. Right now I'm looking to cast probably Faithless Looting though. So I actually flooded Strand for a shock. interesting. Would have thought they would have gotten their white mana source there. So we're definitely just going to go Faithless Looting here. We want the land. We don't really want to discard cards yet. So I think maybe we just get rid of... Slaughter Games could be good. Just the question is, what would we name with it? I think we want to keep Through the Breach and Goryo's Vengeance, which means we have to choose from these cards. Of which I like... because these can get reshuffled into the graveyard. And Slaughter Games is a little weaker here, is really what it comes down to against a control deck than it is against like an Ad Nauseam style deck. I would expect a basic island here. Wow, super aggressive. Maybe the opponent assumes that we pulled the Blood Moons. What are the odds that they are holding on to that? Whatever that blue-black card is, the one that makes you not be able to search your library this turn. Probably pretty slim. I think it's worth the risk to get the Faithless Looting. So now we're set up next turn where we could potentially Collective Brutality and Goryo's Vengeance. Alright, so we know what the rest of our opponent's hand is except for whatever they just drew. So they're going to have two cards now that we don't know about, which sets us up to have a good turn to Collective Brutality, even if we don't draw something that makes us go for it. And I think now we just go after the Blessed Alliance. Which gives us the ability to Through the Breach next turn. So the opponent's going to have two more cards. We presume we get a Flooded Strand cracked for an island here. Okay, plain. So that means we're pretty safe to counter magic then. So I'm really comfortable just going for the Through the Breach when we draw our 5th land. We know they have an island in hand, but they need two blue to really counter anything with their logic knots and cryptic commands. It's really aggressive fetching from the opponent here. It's possible they draw into another Blessed Alliance, but I just couldn't imagine it. Oh, this is frustrating. Could have kept that 5th land earlier. They're drawing their lands today. Alright, so if they have to cut 5, they're still going to have 3 up. Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to not go for it as soon as you can. And we're a Collective Brutality away from the win. They're probably going to get a concession, but I don't know that it's necessary. So they'd still have their 2 basics up. Well, that's okay. Reshuffle, I'm okay with that. They still have to have their Annihilator trigger. I don't think there's any reason to run out the 2nd Blood Moon here. When I think about their potential answers, we're probably looking at whatever the blue-white like detention sphere. It's going to get both of them anyway, so might as well save one. So we actually have 2 Goryo's Vengeance, so we can actually beat a Relic, which is pretty nice. Oh, they actually exiled their graveyard in advance. That's pretty aggressive. Pentad Prism is great. Helps us set up a potential hard casting of Grizzlebrand. Bring in the Snapcaster Beats. Not too worried about the Snapcaster. I'm more worried about a Planeswalker. So we're saving the Dreadbore for that. Kind of the whole lineup theory thing. Pack Rat's pretty good here, though. If we can resolve this, this gives us another option or opportunity to get aggressive with our opponent. We can actually pitch a couple cards here if we wanted. Not going to though. Alright, so we can actually activate Packrat's ability to cast Emrakul. And then we have double Goryo's Vengeance, so I think we're good to go with that plan of attack. Maybe they have another that should be lethal. Yeah, opponent concedes. And we get the win. I actually like this single Packrat here. Been pretty fun to play with that card again. So that's turn 15 against Esper. It's a hot and cold night, 0-0. 2-0 win, 0-2 loss, 2-0 win. Anyway, on the left we'll have a link to the next video in the league. On the right, a link to the playlist for the deck. And right in the center we have a link to subscribe. Hopefully you enjoyed. Have a good one.